Instagram can only do so much. It can only put you in front of a certain set of eyes with the algorithm and things like that. But media, there are media outlets out there that get millions of readers a month, right? And if you are on that platform and your face is there and your name is there and you are linked to, what I call legacy URLs like Business Insider, like Time Magazine, right? Like abc.com, nbc.com. Google is going to start recognizing you as the expert in your industry.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of She Runs the Business podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Mercedes Barba, who is a media coach and journalist, and she's going to share with us her expertise and experience in journalism and media, how to pitch media. Mercedes, thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to have you on my show.
Thank you, Nina. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone listening. I'm excited to talk media with you all today.
Thank you so much. So let's start with a very important question. Why is media so important for our business?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Nina, I was a journalist for 15 years. I have recently shifted over to the publicity side where I work with entrepreneurs and business coaches to get them featured in the media. Why the media? Why is the media so valuable? In my 15 career as a journalist, I saw firsthand how a media feature can exponentially change a business, right? I covered the last 8 years of my career were in business and entrepreneurship. So working at major business outlets like CNBC and Money Magazine, right? I would find stories about entrepreneurs that were really interesting, feature them on our platform, and then see later, like, oh my gosh, they're like blowing up now. And it's so funny because obviously I know how important media is, but it wasn't until I really started honing in on business and entrepreneurship that I saw the change. Especially for small business owners, right? Instagram can only do so much. It can only put you in front of a certain set of eyes with the algorithm and things like that. But media, there are media outlets out there that get millions of readers a month, right? And if you are on that platform and your face is there and your name is there and you are linked to, what I call legacy URLs like Business Insider, like Time Magazine, right? Like abc.com, nbc.com. Google is going to start recognizing you as the expert in your industry. So that's super, super valuable. So why the media? We want to put you in front of millions of eyeballs, right? We want people to read the article about you, go back to your website, sign up for your newsletter, and be in your community, right? So we want to put you on this pedestal in front of millions of eyeballs. Also, on the other side of it, the main reason why what I tell my clients is for SEO, right? For search engine optimization. It's that 3 letter word that you've heard, but maybe some of you don't know what it is, or maybe some of you do, but SEO is super, super valuable. When you start getting associated with keywords in your niche, this is why blogging is important for your site. Not to maybe make money, as a blogger, but just to have these keywords so that Google, searches your website, because Google is searching billions and billions of keywords a second, right? And what it's doing is it's making those connections, and it's saying, okay, Mercedes is a publicist, and look, she has 50 blogs on her website about PR and what is PR and what it does. And now she's associated in some articles about PR and how that can change your business. So then Google starts recognizing me as an expert in publicity. So when people are looking for a publicist to hire, boom, there I go higher in the search rankings because I'm associated with it, right? So it's setting that digital footprint. It is also planting the seeds now for later down the line. So not only with media do you see an immediate return because you see people immediately to your newsletter, but you are planting the seeds for clients down the line. And these media features live online, right? Like everything pretty much lives online nowadays. So it's super important to really get you out there into the media and get you featured.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This was so great what you told us. I think you're amazing, and thank you so much for being here. I want to ask you a few questions about specifically for healers. So most of healers have their presence online on social media, but most of them live in certain areas. When should they focus on pitching local media, and when should they focus on pitching international media?
Oh, that's such a great question. So, if you are a newbie at media, I like to start off my clients sometimes, if they're a little bit nervous, with local media, right? There's a lot of really great local media around you. And when you hire a publicist like me, we look to see what media outlets are around you, and we get you featured there, right? Like whether it's an editorial story or whether it's a morning news show, which I've done for my clients. But it's a really good way to get your feet wet. Let's say you are a healer, but it's only you. Let's say you work one-on-one with clients, right? And you're kind of at capacity. If you get featured in a you know, major organization, you might get bombarded with potential clients. So you got to make sure that you are ready to handle the business that can come from media features. So if you are kind of at your limit, starting local, starting on podcasts is a really, really great way to do it. But if you're ready to grow, let's say your goal is to grow your newsletter, and you have a masterclass that you're selling, right? That doesn't keep you at capacity because you're not doing one-on-one coaching. Let's get you featured on Good Morning America or Business Insider, and let's get people flooded to your website so they can see exactly who you are, what you do, sign up for your newsletter, and all of a sudden you have them in the funnel and you nurture them and you convert them to sales. So it's kind of up to the individual client goals. I'm working with a client right now that has a physical product, and they are worried about getting large media features because they can't fulfill these orders. So we're starting local, we're starting small. But as they grow the product and as they grow the business, we're going to start featuring larger and larger, right? So it really is a matter of like what your business goals are now, what your, like, do you want people to flock to your newsletter signups? Do you want people to sign on one-on-one coaching with you, right? So it's a matter of figuring out what your goals are and then targeting in that way.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I want to ask you a few questions about pitching media. What is the best way to pitch media?
Yeah, great question. So, when you hire a publicist, you are essentially hiring their network, right? Because publicists, that's what they do. They make these connections with journalists and they get their clients featured because a lot of the times it is hard for someone to break through the email, wall and say, "Hey, it's me. I'm a new person. I know you don't know me, but I have a really great idea for you." But if you hire a publicist that has these connections and they're like, building, they have trust with the journalist, that's a really great way to get into it. But in order to start pitching, you really need to make sure that you have honed in on your message and your branding. Who is it that you serve? What is it that you do for them? What is the problem and what is the solution? And what actionable tips do you give to your clients that you could potentially share in an article without giving too much, right? Because we don't want to give away your 4-step method to success, and not have people sign up for your masterclass, right? But you want to give them enough service so that you can get their attention, right? And put them in that funnel. So it is really important to do your research. I like to have my clients open up a Google Doc and put their dream media outlets, right? And I like to have them go on there and look at the stories that are being told, right? So if we look at Business Insider, they go with like these longer first-person headlines. They like the story, the aspirational, inspirational stories of like, here's why I quit my Fortune 500 job and now I'm helping, small business owners, blah, blah, blah. Like, here are 3 things that I teach them. CNBC Make It likes numbers, for example. So if you have a 6-figure business, or if you've interviewed 1,000 people on your podcast and here's the one thing that you've learned from them that could totally change their career, something like that has numbers and you can actually have kind of data behind it. That's super important. So you really have to make sure that you are doing research on the exact media outlet that you want to get into and really kind of hone your messaging per media outlet, right? Because a story that you're going to be pitching for Good Morning America is totally different from a story you're going to be pitching on Business Insider, right? Good Morning America is more lifestyle, right? More human interest. Business Insider is more business focused, right? So figuring out what branding the publication that you're working for, and also where does your target audience read? If you want to target these affluent clients, maybe they're on Forbes or Fortune or Bankrate, right, or Business Insider. If you want to target, let's say single moms or stay-at-home moms, like maybe they're on the Today Show, right, or Good Morning America or Oprah. So you really want to make sure that you are targeting the exact branding and clientele and where they read so that you can capture them as your clients later.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think you mentioned here very valuable things about being specific about message, who you target to, and what media they read or they're engaged with. I want to ask you a few questions about what is no-go when we pitch media? What shouldn't we do at all when we pitch journalists?
Yeah. So when you are getting started, definitely connect with journalists on LinkedIn. I think it's super, super valuable. As an entrepreneur, when I was a journalist, I would get so many messages on LinkedIn like, "Hey Mercedes, my name is so and so and I'm a healer and I'm an entrepreneur, I'm this and that. Like let me know if you ever have stories in your wheelhouse that I could speak to as an expert." I would get that all the time. I think a big no-no in this industry is bombarding people too many times. So if let's say you send an email on a Monday, you don't want to follow up on Tuesday morning, right? You want to give the journalist some time to respond to you, because maybe they forgot, right? Or maybe they are interested, but if you bombard them too much, maybe they're going to kill the story, right? Like maybe they're like, "Oh no, this person, like I don't want to work with them." So you want to make sure that you have like a good email courtesy, um, and manners, and you're not bombarding people. So if you send a pitch on a Monday, follow up a week later, right? "Hey, it's me again." And if you don't get a response back, it's totally normal in this media world to not get a response because journalists get hundreds. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Especially nowadays with these programs like Muckrack, right? Or these other ones. Prowly is another one. You can send email blasts, right? And so for me, when I was a journalist, I would know when it was an email blast and I would kind of ignore it because it's not directed to me. That's another big thing is you also want to personalize the email. So you want to say, "Hey Mercedes, if you go on my LinkedIn, I think it says something there that I lived in New York and I went to NYU. Hey Mercedes, oh my gosh, you lived in New York, so did I. You went to NYU, so did I." Right? You want to kind of personalize it. Or, if you go on my Twitter and I'm very vocal about a favorite artist that I like or a musician, right? "Hey Mercedes, oh my gosh, I love that song that musician did with so and so, and that was so great. I have a pitch for you," right? And so that makes me more likely to open the email and read the story, because it's personalized to me. If it's something that feels like a blast, and make sure that you spell the journalist's name right. My name is Mercedes Barba. I don't know why this happens to me, but sometimes people think my name is Barba or Barbara. And I'm like, "No, my name is Mercedes," right? So you've got to make sure that you are spelling this person's name right. And that you're doing a little bit of research on them, or maybe they just published a story that you love and you're like, "Oh my God, I love that story that you did about so and so. Here's my story. And I really think I could be a valuable addition to Business Insider," right? Or CNBC. So it's really important to personalize it. The biggest no-no is a no personalization. Or bombarding them too much on email. Or let's say, I was just talking to one of my journalist friends the other day and he did a story on somebody and, because of breaking news and things like that happen, sometimes the story gets pushed, right? And that's totally normal. One journalist only has enough bandwidth for something, but the person that he did the story on is now bombarding him and saying, "Where's the story? How come it's not up?" And this person's like, you know, "I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm essentially doing you a favor by featuring you in the media." So just don't bombard people, when they're doing their best, right? Have a very understanding sense in your email and just be cool. If somebody doesn't respond, it's fine. Move on. Send them another pitch in a couple weeks, right? It's very normal not to get a response, but definitely connect with them on LinkedIn. Find them on that professional platform is really important, and don't bombard them on their Instagram messages. If they do say on their Twitter DMs, "My DMs are open for pitches," then it's fair game. But I think Instagram's a little bit different. I would kind of steer away from that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. These are such a great tips. I think so many people can learn from this, and I think we all get annoyed when we get unpersonalized messages to our inbox, and it was a blast, and people don't care about you. And I think what you said is really, really cool. Such a great advice. I also want to ask you about your advice for people who feel afraid to be visible, who are so shy, who don't want to be on camera. What would you say to them?
Yeah. So for me, I have had a long career of being on camera, right? I've done Instagram lives for major Instagram publications. I've done on camera work, interviewing celebrities and CEOs, and I've done a lot of red carpet interviews. And even me to this day, I get nervous about going on camera. I'm a little bit more used to it now because I'm just like, whatever, here I am. Like, this is the best you're going to get. And, this is who I am. But for somebody who gets a little bit nervous about going on camera, there are other ways to be featured in the media, right? You can become a featured expert contributor. So if, let's say, if you have a very specific expertise or a niche and you connect with a journalist that covers that all the time, you can introduce yourself as an expert and say, hey, if you ever need a source for a story, I'm your girl, right? I'm here. I can hop on a call at any time. You can also have, like, let's say, be a featured contributor. So you could be like a monthly writer for Business Insider or CNBC, and I would pitch that, right? If you're worried about going on camera. But if you do kind of want to get over that fear of showing up and being visible, showing up on Reels is a really great way to do that. Even for me, someone who's had a lot of on camera experience, like, I still get nervous about Reels. I'm like, what are people going to think? But it's all really in your own head. People want to listen to you, and people really connect with that human on the other side of the camera. So it is really important to show up. And you also don't want to limit yourself, right? Let's say Good Morning America does want to do a video about you and you're scared to go on camera. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So definitely doing the work now, practicing, showing up on Reels. And it also just shows, like, if I'm a journalist and you're pitching me a story about you, I want to see you on camera. I want to see who the person is, right? And I want to see their vibe and their voice, because that gives me a good sense of how they are as a writer, or how they are going to be to work with, right? Or what kind of, service are they offering their clients? So it is really important to kind of show up and be visible, whether it's LinkedIn Live, Instagram, doing podcasts, right? Things like that is very important.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mercedes, for being here today. You are such an amazing media coach and publicist. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that people will connect with you. So please share with them how they can find you and how they can connect with you.
Yeah, if you are an entrepreneur and you're listening and you want media taking off your plate, right? Because a lot of my clients are so busy. They're so busy with their own thing that they don't have time to do media pitching, right? You're over here writing newsletters. You're over here, like, nurturing your clients, delivering on deliverables, right? You have a million things going on. And media is just another added thing to your plate. You have to do it, but you just don't want to. Connect with me. You can go to my website, mercedesbarba.com, my first and last name, or you can find me on Instagram, which is Mercedes and Media. That's my PR firm. And I'm very active on there. Send me a DM. Even if you have a pitch written and you want to send it to me to take a look, I'm happy to do that. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's connect on there. I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. And, I do offer done-for-you PR services, and I am in the process right now of creating a masterclass for people that want to learn to do it themselves, and want to just kind of get a good idea of, like, what PR is, how they can do it, right, and all of that. So just find me and let's connect and let's be friends. And I'm totally happy to give you some advice on maybe some media outlets that you could target. And I'm here for you. Yeah. So I'm excited to see you all in the media one day very soon.
Thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise. And everybody else who is listening out there, if you need help with media, reach out to Mercedes. She is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. For everybody else who is listening to this podcast, keep shining your light, be brave, because the world needs that love and light inside of you more than ever. I'm sending you lots of love and big hug. Bye for now.